we got to talk about the dark side of the gospel. As a believer, or even a non-believer, you can be what the world thinks is perfect. You don't lie, cheat, or steal. You go to church, you fast, you tithe, you give, you volunteer, you pray, you pay your taxes, you help your neighbor take out the garbage, you wash the dishes before you go to bed at night, you serve, you support social causes, you follow all of the rules, and even try to follow the rules. You don't know the reasons why they are rules. You just do it because you're supposed to. And still, a major calamity will come into your life. Boom, your house is broken into, you're maimed in a car accident, you lose your job, your child gets sick, your spouse leaves, bad things happen. And a lot of times, when that happens, phrases slip out that actually reveals what's in our hearts. I've done everything right, God. Where were you? God, are you mad at me? God, didn't I pray to you enough? Didn't I tithe enough? Didn't I ask for forgiveness enough? What did I do wrong, God? Where are you? Are you even real? Okay, you get my dramatic point. And you didn't do anything wrong, and God's still there. But you thought because you were doing everything right, or what others said was right, that God owes you something. What you're expressing is that your foundation of belief is built upon your works and what you are doing. And you're doing things so you can get something in return. Welcome to a fundamental issue with the way that many modern Christians present the gospel. We tell folks that if they believe and if they follow the rules, then they'll be blessed with issue-free lives, or God is going to solve all their problems for them. But there's a dark side to that messed up theology. It results in judgment. When something bad happens to someone, it's because they didn't work hard enough or tithe enough, or because they have secret sin. Put your hand in the air if you've ever had a thought like this. Something bad happens to someone that we think has led an amazing Christian life. Man, they're such a good Christian. I can't believe that happened. I wonder what they're hiding. Our ministry leader's spouse or child gets sick or dies, and the thought comes, if they're really doing the Lord's work, none of those terrible things should have happened to them. Or they have cancer? There must be unforgiveness in them they haven't repented of. How about she's seeking therapy for depression? But she's a worship leader. She must have open doors in her spirit due to her pride from the attention she gets during those Sunday services. Judgment. Now, I'm not bringing all this up to condemn. I'll be the first to admit I've caught myself thinking like that before. It takes time to untangle from the crappy brainwashing many of us are subjected to from a very young age. What we have done is create terrible theologies to explain things that we don't understand, allowing us to make value judgments on God, ourselves, and others. And when we make agreement with these crapola judgments, we become self-righteous. We get angry, or we feel disconnected from God. The temple leaders did it 2,000 years ago. We still do it now. And when you read it, there's a book called the Bible that refutes this crap theology completely. Because the truth is, there is no dark side to the real good news of Christ, where He is our foundation, not ourselves. If you base your understanding of the gospel on never facing difficulty because you're doing everything right in the works that you do, then you're gonna have a tough time. Because when the rubber meets the road and something traumatic does happen, your faith will fracture, because your faith isn't based on what He has done and is doing, but is based on what you feel is owed to you due to what you think you're doing for God. A person's walk with Christ is not about everything being perfect and issue-free. Were the prophets of old literally sawed in half because they weren't on God's side? Did Paul have a thorn in his side because he didn't do enough? Was Stephen executed because he had secret sin? Was John exiled to Patmos because he didn't tithe enough? Was Peter crucified upside down because Jesus held something against him. Not at all. So why do we think people's journeys and relationship with God are reflected by a lack of problems or pain? And why do we make judgments upon ourselves, others, and God when those bad things happen? You better believe there's no good fruit there, and it twists us up and it makes us bitter, hunting out the heresies in others to massage away our own self-judgment. Or worse, when these types of thoughts go through our minds, it reveals our dark belief that God is a vicious and punitive being that removes his presence whenever we or someone else faces calamity. And that is in direct opposition to the gospel according to Romans 8:35 through 39. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. He promises tribulations will come in this world, but take heart in him, for he has overcome the world. Outside of Jesus, no matter what you do of your own accord or what anyone else does out of theirs, will absolutely never, ever measure up to God's standard for holiness. You can't do it. And if you're always working hard to get some kind of blessing, then when something in your life falls apart, which will inevitably happen, you will be angry at God. You'll see God as callous, vindictive, unfair, and distant. Or worse, completely silent. Don't be that person. We got to get out of our own way. We have to let go of the false gospel and embrace the real good news. We have to wash our brains in God's love and forgiveness and move from there. We're to judge people by their fruit, not their pain. God bless. See you soon.